I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. Don't be scared. Just level up. Don't be scared. Back. I won't stop, I'ma fight until there's nothing left. It's so what? You're gonna be hurting bad, cause I've been to hell and back. You don't wanna make me mad, I stay strong. You will never see me crack. And if you get in my way, you're gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math, when I hate, I attack. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. Don't be scared. Just level up. Don't be scared.
Alrighty, hi everybody, hello, howdy, hi Casey, hi John, John Perrin, John Perrin, hello, welcome, hi Mira, Black Mamba, Casey, Johnny, Leo, Mira, Black Mamba again, Bad Wars Gang as always, Nannies, absolutely, Olimu, hello, and that's it. I think that is all for now. Hello everybody, hope you're having a wonderful evening as much as it can be. Hope you can hear me well. I know the sound was probably off a little bit yesterday. It should be completely fine today. I hope. There's a bit of a tricky thingy with the sound sometimes, so hopefully today it was just fine. Let's get into this. Let's do what we usually do, I guess. Let's cover the S&P. Start with what we had today in terms of price action, and in terms of we had relatively boring day, nothing all that special, just kind of tame sideways price action all in all. If you look at the ranges that we're talking about, some of the people who were expecting again to wake up the very next day that I said, oh look guys, we're gonna have a bit of a rally and to see the market go bananas to the moon, that's not how it works. But yes, we are slowly starting to see a bit of a pickup from the market. And I went the wrong place here. Let's just do this one and start from small to large, kind of just expand as we normally do. In terms of the current channel, again, you see this was just an idea. Everybody's gonna say, Greg, you said it's gonna run up. I meant that's the overall sort of general process, which we will see, even though it's gonna be probably very gradual. So chill out, take a chill pill. It's going to take a little while. Plus, again, part of it is somewhat hypothetical, and we might end up just having barely a rally that will end up at 5,700. Again, we rely on the momentum just to kind of identify whether these things are possible or not. So let's start. I mean, it's pretty simple, 5 minutes, nothing all that special. We are tethering on the sort of center at around the 50 range, and so it can turn around and easily continue into this sort of corner, into this wedge that we're moving into. I'm not going to be all that surprised if it's going to be retested again. Although the momentum right now is more bearish at face value on the 5 minutes, it can still flip over, and it will flip over probably. Since it's just a very small time frame, so I'm not going to be all that surprised if we're going to finish testing this wedge that got formulated. Now let's look at 30 minutes. 30 minutes, we are currently entering overbought territory. We're just at the edge of it. We're just at that, you can see 76, the values of 76 and 83, meaning we're just at the edge of entering the overbought territory that will allow us to have a little bit more bullish momentum, sort of confirmation to the hypothesis that we were going to have that movement to the upside. So that sort of plays along very neatly with that. At least potentially to that 57 handle area. This is what we're expecting. What else? If we're looking at the 45 minutes, which we know is more so this in-between time frame that allows us to understand better or more accurately what is the 30 minutes or the 1 hour are basically trying to tell us, or whether what we can read from it. Here, this is going to be a bit tricky because here we're already in overbought territory, meaning we're positive. But we're bullish, as we say, meaning why? Because we are bearish in overbought. So it's kind of a mix of the forces. So we're getting tamed down bullish price action, if you will. But remember, that was just an in-between time frame. And if you're looking right here at the hourly, we're already having a crossover of the forces. Right now, we're actually becoming bearish, but again, in overbought territory. So this is a very normal sort of behavior. If we will go for another retest, that kind of confirms the retest of that the median. I would assume that 55 handle, the high 55 area. And let's see what the 4 hour tells us. The 4 hour tells us actually that that very same area is the bottom of the short range channel on the larger time frame, right? So temporarily what we're seeing, basically, in other words, to put it in really simple terms, is a retest of that floor based upon the momentum as it's structured right now on the 4 hourly. It is easy to assume that we're going to have more bullish momentum, whether it's the convergence of the forces around 50. Although, honestly, I gotta say, this is looking very bullish. So we might as well assume that we have a retest maybe even right above, because this is looking very healthy. But with all the health that we have, it's only the 4 hours. So don't be surprised if all that is signaling is exactly that very correction that we were expecting already. So no surprises. Don't say, oh, you know, that's it. The market correction, the bearish period is over. That's it. Everything is fine. That is all. That is it, so to speak. If anything, this is just the beginning, and we're just about to have a temporary short range correction that could lead up to 58, 59, maybe even 6,000, but highly doubtful. But yes, currently we are seeing enough momentum to push higher and maybe even to retest the median we said here around 58. As the market gradually moves over into that sort of downwards trend, the very same one I was showing right here, the one we saw throughout the latest lives that I've done. We do have temporary short range supports and resistances in between, but let's be frank, we really care about are the major sort of supports and resistances that end up being the major checkpoints, if you will, for the price action, which is 57.99. Might as well call it just 5800 flat, might as well, and 5424.87, because this is not so close enough, sure, but still, let's call it what it is. 5424. It's just that we're going to make an exception with this 799. We can call this 800. That's it. This is sort of what we're seeing in terms of the mid-range time frames. Now let's start with the larger time frames and sort of see how did anything really get affected, if anything at all, recently with the changes with the price action behavior. Did the narrative change, right? Even if we do this every day, but we don't cover the larger time frames, what's going on? We still have to, from time to time, to look at the larger picture to get an idea whether the market is still moving in the direction that the bigger picture, the longer term narrative is, or rather was dictating. So we're just kind of reaffirming what we've seen before, since we don't really look at these time frames. At least most people don't look at these time frames on a daily basis. So all in all, it's pretty much the same, and in fact accelerating to the downside as we were predicting all along. We can see it basically is pointed to the downside. We can see the quarterly is going towards convergence, divergence, exactly as we expected, right here, right below the 80. And so this potentially signifies the beginning of the process on the quarterly time frame, which is, well, very unpleasant. We know we'll get locked in about 19 days. So we're about to see some results in terms of the longer term direction of the price action very, very, very shortly, because within about 19 days, as this will develop and will continue sort of unraveling, we'll be able to more easily determine whether the market is more bearish or more bullish, or this is just sort of this temporary thing, no worry about it. When in reality, we understand that there are far sort of stronger forces that are affecting the market. In reality, whether we like to acknowledge or not, we're probably about to enter a deeper correction that most people wouldn't like to see as a viable thing. But really, all in all, if you look at the overall structure, you realize that's a very, very normal behavior, and relative to the sort of rally we had, just a retest of the bottom of the channel, which is very, very normal for the market to do once in a while. We basically reach exactly the levels I am talking about. Coincidentally, you can see them sort of match here with the fib levels and the channel, the bottom channel. Everything sort of works in line very, very neatly. Of course, we're not expecting this to happen overnight, but very gradually. I think most of you guys are up to speed. Let's go over our regular suspects. Oh, that looks so beautiful. Just absolutely easy to read, right? That is just amazing. And without it, it's too naked and I cannot show you what I want. All right, so we'll have to clean it up a little bit, or maybe at least zoom out. Palantir didn't change much. It's pretty much everything that we said. We still have the ceiling of, I think I've moved this too far by accident. This should be somewhere around right here, roughly about 95-ish, and that is sort of like premier condition, right? The best potential. You can see, in fact, right here, I'm holding on to, I know it looks very messy, right? Let's just try to remove the drawings, right? So it's going to be just a little bit better. But what you can see here is basically that we've been moving along inside two channels that are both downwards oriented, right? With sort of the primary channel is a very wide channel. In the center, we have a smaller channel that is sort of tighter. Let's call it the median. And if you really look at this overall channel, how this tiny channel inside internally, although it's slightly deviated, breaks it down very neatly. So what we're seeing is basically four, or rather three, if you want to be sort of, depends on how you look at it. If you look at the wide channel, if you look at this channel all together, you basically have that top channel, that median center channel, and that bottom channel. Right now you see that we've been moving along. We went to the top channel, tested it, broke down, tested the ceiling of this channel that we're currently in, and got locked in the center, moved along downwards. And my thesis basically says that eventually, slowly, when breaking down out of this channel lower to the bottom side, just retesting very normal sort of process, we'll end up at the 50 handle. You've probably seen my video on YouTube, how I spoke exactly about these sort of things just recently. Let me have a second here, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. Here it is. You can see the live that is going on right now, and you can also see that right here, that 2 months ago I already made that prediction internally. If you watch this, it also has the prediction of the 80 range that we're currently experiencing right now. Actually, it's there as well. If you watch that video, it kind of explains everything, the whole shenanigans and an idea of what we're about to have with Palantir on our way downwards towards the 50. But then again, 50 is more so sort of the destination in the short range, medium range again, since we do read these things differently. So currently we're about to see the price action picking back up to the upside, potentially retesting 5,700 as we said here on the S&P, at least in the short-term range, and of course it sort of correlates with the assets, right? So we're saying Palantir subsequently is also moving along together, and this is why we said we're going to see, in fact, really, if you really want to be objective about this, you notice the indices moved. There's like this slight decoupling between the indices and the assets. So what happens is that we move far lower with the indices while correcting enough with the assets. So when in the long term, we're going to look back, we're going to realize the drop in the assets was very, very gradual. The only one that sort of is an outlier, of course, is Tesla, that is doing very, very bad. And we warned about these levels. In fact, it completely sort of broke beyond the current expected levels, and in fact closed an older gap we had, but still generated a new one and have some leftovers. So there's this leftover bit of a gap still that needs to get closed. So, but that doesn't matter. Most of the gaps with Tesla will get closed gradually with the price action retracing all the way back to roughly the 100 range. Of course, I'm not saying tomorrow, right now, or if anything first. What we're going to see is the price action picking back up, as we said, Tesla and all the other suspects. Of course, this is a very exaggerated potential scenario. More so, if anything, we're currently looking at these levels right here. Right, sort of to highlight so you see exactly what I'm talking about. Let's do this. No, purple doesn't really work. Let's do this red. Okay, so these areas right there, that is the expected channel. And sure, you see that is not all that abnormal to see the price action sort of break down, have slippage, continue get carried away with the momentum. I mean, we had all that momentum and pressure pushing to the downside, and so that sort of played its role right here. Now playing back in as we predicted all along. So kind of works in line with the thesis. So far, so good, right? Let's make it red again so you can kind of see it. So we're talking roughly about the handles of 250 all the way to 328-ish. Call it 333. If you really want to be super precise, there are multiple levels there as well. So the closer we get, the easier it will be to tell whether one level or another will be the one to take effect. We're looking at 326, 328, 333 that you can see on the screen, 326. So there are plenty of levels there, basically, as we said. All right. That is that. Let's go back to the chat. Let's see that I'm not missing anything. Let's go back. That was just right. Perfect. I could hear myself over. That was not good. I saw their CrowdStrike, I think, which no, that's Avgo. You know what? But screw that. Let's just CRWD. Let's change that to this because I don't know why it still is between the choices. Pardon me for that technical difficulty. Come on, move. What's going on? Too many tabs. Come on. Oh, thank you. All right. Let's check this out. I think we already had an analysis, and we were saying some stuff about it. And in fact, I can see that there was a form of prediction. I mean, other than the market tugged on it a little bit lower than expected, but we kind of had this already expected move up within the channel, move down, although I've expected it back then, sort of gave the narrative of potentially just the median and not the actual low. So you can kind of see the narrative that we had in comparison to the narrative we actually got, right? Although I see we already said potentially prior to we were seeing that these are the levels that the market will be eventually reaching. So at some point, and we're talking about this, of course, this is probably from a larger time frame, and so it appears to be crooked and in the wrong place, but you get the idea. We were expecting it. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I see basically that the overall target, yep. X marks the spot. Okay, yeah, so I mean, you can kind of see that was the probably the more updated, up-to-date sort of diagram of where we're expecting the market to get, which we kind of almost got there, and now we picked back up. I mean, you can see I was kind of on point. I mean, technically speaking, you can already say I was right already as is. So let's just, what, since we are already at that stage of things, let's kind of analyze again, or rather, let's see what it is that we can see right here. Okay, you can see X marks the spot. Should have gone large in the first place, zoomed out. Zoom out, when in doubt, zoom out. Okay, so, I mean, we've predicted all of this. This sort of happens. You can see far faster than I've predicted it. Cool. I didn't realize I've made such a perfect prediction with CrowdStrike. I wasn't following on it because nobody asked in the several less days. I didn't realize. So we've got this done, I think, pretty well. Salute to us. Yay, cool. Another point for Team TA, right? And definitely another point for Team Investory. That is for sure. No, very well, Mamba. I mean, I think it was yours that you've asked for it, so obviously you follow, but I haven't been up to speed. It looks like it's turning around and becoming more bearish right above the 50 range, so it's a bit suspicious. So I would argue that yes, it will eventually continue and deteriorate back down to that 300 range, right? Is it anytime soon? Just to be sort of, yes, it's far more likely that from here on out, even if gradually, you see it's completely offset right now. So basically, yes, you still, even though going for a correction with the rest of the market, so if anything, what you're seeing is kind of this drop, as we said, picking back up. How high can you pick up? I mean, honestly, I wouldn't completely throw this out the window and say it's impossible it will make it to 404. Possible 400. Just call it the handle of 400. I was just sitting on 404 coincidentally. Basically 400. The range of 400. So this is still possible. Within the sort of framework of what we've seen on the S&P, it completely makes sense that yes, you will see potentially, or at least something close to it. We already marked, I see, internal smaller channels, so those could be the ones that will actually prevent from the price action reaching that high. So basically you have kind of target 1, target 2. Let's reconvene at around 370, if you will, about it. Okay, so we've done Palantir, we've done Crowd. Let's do real quick SMCI. Don't forget, everyone, drop a like. That is tremendously appreciated. It's free and all, ring the bell if not, you haven't done that yet. Switch it to everything so you'll be up to speed. SMCI, corrective movement with the rest of the market, totally makes sense. So back up with this. At the current stage, I would say at least median. Problematic short term, so basically gets entangled, if you will. Retest 43 range, down maybe to 38, back to 43, just to go back to 56.60. Temporary retest of the forces here. Let's see what that shows. Yeah, I would not be surprised if the overall target would be to retest the ceiling before breaking back down, and we're going to see a gradual sort of descent with that one. I'm not going to be surprised if that is the case. And oversold already. Interesting. SMCI is already an oversold right there. Very deeply, so you're having a corrective movement, not yet complete. So the quarterly is where your real troubles are, at least where they become more evident. So you had a very deep movement to the downside. What is going on today? So you had a significant movement to the downside and a bit of a corrective movement temporarily. So a short range corrective movement. That totally makes sense. All right, that is SMCI for you. FNX is down, but Bears still top. Bulls are trying hard. Bulls are trying hard. It's gonna squeeze the bejesus out of them. Regarding SPX, what are the chances to have a smaller bounce, 570 versus? Actually, that's a wonderful question, Big Bad Wars Gang. That is a phenomenal question. Currently, I would say it's sitting at about 50-50%, sort of from my own personal point of view, but it's far more likely. So, okay, so to be super objective, let's just say it this way. Let's say currently the likelihood of 5900 is 60% and 40% to 57 only. I cannot determine that yet, and I want to wait until the price action actually makes it to 57, and then I'll be able to give you a far more educated and sort of objective answer, which is kind of cheating, we're saying, because 57 is the target itself. But currently, under the conditions, it's very difficult. The market is very uncertain, and so the reading is very difficult. So, but these 10% are very significant that I'm giving more to the 59%, to the 59 range. Basically, those 60% potential in my mind are very significant. Price action will guide us. May the price action guide us. May the price action guide us. Yeah, now we're gonna have a new thing here. May the price action guide us. The level mentioned are yes levels, not SPX. Sorry. Okay, I see. I cut 70% of my shares position when I'm recording things. Yeah, absolutely. I follow bro, very good, exactly, and held large position from 230. We're talking about CrowdStrike. Let's see. Welcome everyone. Stonky, hello. Or probably bounce, as you say. Right. Okay. UD flush strategy. Short any bounds. Well, again, that's you with right, because you do the options and stuff. Want to join our exclusive Discord? Absolutely. If you want to join the Discord, Stonky, I don't know if today is worth the effort. It feels like there's like very few people here today, and mainly the regulars. So I don't know if it's worth the effort, but sure, absolutely. Thank you for the effort. Everyone who's not in the community, absolutely join on patreon.com/investory. Join in the Discord. You'll be able to be up to speed to know what we predict in the community, what the analysis is, be more up to speed to various meetings that we have, ask questions, hang out with us in the Discord, and all that beautiful stuff. I see your hand there, Mama, so give me a sec. Let's go with this one. Yeah, sure, absolutely. Civics. Let's do Civics. Well, currently it's very interesting. Definitely doing that negative channel. So currently that is the force that is holding us down, if you will, or range bound, to be more precise. This is a clear opposite. I wonder how weekly will look like. That totally makes sense. That this median coincides with this. That totally makes sense. I mean, so this is more bullish though. This is very much just like the rest of the market is trying to pick back up. How long can it do that? Well, very problematic, because the overall thesis says in such a situation that this is basically a temporary short-lived correction that will overall result in still a downwards pressure and 120, 120, 130, 115, 17. So overall, it's not good. On the quarterly, you can see really what's going on because it's sort of far enough. On this, on the other hand, it appears to be sort of retesting and doing some having some bullish momentum. So that's why it totally makes sense if it will overdraw and basically will have slippage outside that, ride that channel, and then eventually end up breaking back down with the rest of the market. So that when the market will continue going down, it will continue with it. And that's not even the whole story. This is just the beginning. This is like just the first steps, if you will, of the process of how the market transitions from being tremendously bullish, right, over a period of time to more bearish. Although it's again Chevron, we'll see. But right now the market, Chevron is a little bit more of a problematic asset because it is highly affected by the market itself as much as it's affected by energy. And energy, as you guys seen, haven't been doing all that amazing recently, when we expected by now to be roughly around the back to 75. So it is a little bit more complex, but yes, it will get affected, it seems to be, by the market, by the vastness of the market, and it still has the very similar narrative. Although we know oil in reality has a lot more bullish sentiment. So it's a very interesting mix. A very interesting mix. Chevron right now is an interesting thing to follow, but it does appear to be that even if temporarily so, it will be retesting 130, 120. That's just, again, in the short range, if you will. And yeah, that's it. It's just one, but so in case somebody watches, you true legend, thank you very much, appreciate it. No new all-time high on VIX. Right, because, well, I mean, you really expect an all-time high on VIX. I mean, at the end of the day, look, because it moves like a seismograph at the end of the day. What you're going to be able to identify is more volatility. And sure, in more volatile times when the price changes are more significant, you're going to have VIX go bananas. But VIX, as oftentimes people like to look at it just from this standpoint, it appears to be just a bunch of columns, which is bullshit because that's not really how it behaves. There's a lot of preparation for these columns so that they'll pick back up, and when it draws back down and gaps and all sorts of interesting things. And so, but VIX at the end of the day is not something to read as much as it is something also to read into when you see the rest of the market behaving the way it does. And currently, with the market sort of tapering down in terms of volatility, not that surprising that we're seeing the VIX pointing to the downside, at least on the daily scale, but on the weekly, we're just getting started, for example, right? So you have to be objective about things. Basically, this is sort of just an intermediatory impulse before we have an actual stronger even impulse, which is getting, warmed up right here. You can kind of see it, and here as well. So we're almost there. Our expectation in plug next month. That's an interesting one. That is a little bit more specific, so I'm going to try and answer it. Although this is more of an attempt to time the market, which we really don't like. But we're going to try and sort of answer a question. On the monthly, what I am seeing is nothing unordinary, and I'm seeing potentially maybe even a retest of these lows of 111, 120, so I'm not going to be all that surprised. Short range, we might have some temporary unpleasantness. To those who struggle with such situations, to me, it's just going to be a great opportunity to buy more, to wait for that big pickup that we're expecting to see right here on the 3 months. You can see eventually, sometime soon-ish, we're going to have a very interesting impulse that will take us potentially somewhat higher, even if it may take some time. As we said, this is not something we expect to achieve tomorrow or in a couple of days, even if it's going to take a very long time, relatively speaking, again, to the day traders and so forth. And so right now I treat these levels just as an opportunity to buy, as it's just bottoming. We're basically scraping the bottom. And so even if we're going to end up misbehaving and dropping lower, even if temporarily, I'm just gonna swallow that frog, if you will, and just start buying before we're able then to pick back up to 3, 4, 5, 6, or whatever it is that we're expecting to see. So we still have plenty of time. In other words, plenty of time, still no rush. I see next month, as you said, more so like a buying opportunity, or so it appears. It doesn't mean it's going to be all that straightforward. The market might be somewhat volatile. Just the other day, I dropped my KTOS, Kratos, and I keep my community informed, which, by the way, I have to keep you guys up to speed. I'm at 900 SQQQ now, and I have to soon get another 100 to be at 1,000, which you guys know I will be doing very, very shortly. We just, like anything else with DCA, we don't just throw a whole. I usually buy them in 100 batches. Basically, that's kind of like not through options, just proper regular underline batch of 100. Simple and easy. I bought here somewhere at the bottoms of the 36.90, the 37 maybe. I didn't really care, just bought a batch. It's like, why not, right? That's it. I think that's it for today. Boys and girls. We plowed through this. Wow, this is very, very quick. The market even didn't get closed. Like, we actually were able to finish this before the market closed. This is pretty neat. Today we plowed through this. But then again, there's nothing all that impressive and that sort of crazy. Thanks for keeping things eligible, basically. Legible to Greg. Legible. Yeah. No, absolutely. If you didn't please do. Absolutely, yes. Do that as well. My pleasure, Johnny. My pleasure. That's it, boys and girls. I think, all in all, we kind of are very well prepared for what is coming, and we understand there will be a more of a pull up, it seems, in the upcoming sessions. So subsequently, a bit of a drawdown on the SQQQ side of things. So it doesn't matter to us all that much. We're talking about 35-ish. And of course, there will be an interesting session that I'm going to have with the Academy members. We're going to be discussing exactly these sort of things, these sort of elements of how the market behaves now, and especially the SQQQ factor and all of that, relatively shortly, I believe, in the upcoming sort of week time, range of time, simply because I'm feeling that much better. As you can hear, I was able to go through all this entire thing today without coughing. Well, no, the session, the live. Today I was still coughing, but I am feeling significantly better. Tfu, knock on wood, right? So hopefully we're going to be getting that done soon, and talking about how the market and the SPX and the SQQQ overall sort of related, and how should we expect the both to behave in the upcoming sessions. That's it, boys and girls. I hope you're going to have a wonderful evening. Wish everybody a wonderful evening, morning, night, whatever you have, wherever you're at. I'll see you on the Discord or on the next call. Real quick, for those who will watch later, just before I forget, again, real quick, final sort of promo. Here it is, patreon.com/investory. Join in so you will actually know better, right? Just kind of how I say in the shorts all the time. And you'll know why the market is doing what it's doing, what is expected, and be able to do your own analysis and derive your own conclusions, and not to be reliant on talking heads of the media and just anybody, pretty much, just to be independent. That's the idea. All right, boys and girls, love you all. See you on the next one. See you on the Discord. Bye bye.